Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody. I know you guys are probably pretty surprised hearing me talk again, but I just realized that after all the recording and everything of the gym for today, that I didn't even start my mic or anything like that. It wasn't turned on. So, rest in peace, but hey, honestly, I kind of miss doing the voiceovers. Maybe I should bring them back. You guys should let me know. But yeah, basically for today's lift, we started around, I think, I want to say 11 o'clock, 11:15, because I had a little bit of a job interview a little bit earlier. Wasn't too bad. But starting off for today, starting off with some nice standing calf raises. Really need to start doing calves again, man. I swear I've really been low-key lacking on staying consistent with my calf raises and everything. I feel like at Liberty, like when I was where I went to college, I feel like during my undergrad years that I was really consistent with hitting calves, especially in my last 2 years. And I feel like I've just gotten really lazy with those types of things and just adding like too much unnecessary volume, not only just for calves, but for a lot of my other movements. So I think what I need to do is I just need to make it a lot simpler for my routines and make it fun, but also keep it very straightforward. Not trying to do like 3 or 4 sets, just trying to keep it 2 sets for everything, 8 to 12 on all stuff, and not going like ridiculously heavy where I can't feel the muscle, but do something where I can feel the muscle, but also still be pushing to failure every single session, every single set, just so that I can continue to make gains. But for calves today, back on the topic, I started off with 230 for the first set, and then 210s for the second set. Wasn't too bad. Felt like a decent squeeze in my calves. I'm still trying to lock down the form a little bit. It's weird. I remember people always say that you need to have flat shoes when you do calves, but for some reason, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like when I use my running shoes, the ones that have a little bit more of a arch support underneath, I guess sort of like the midfoot strike, I feel like I can actually really flex my calves a lot more versus using flat shoes. Maybe I'm just completely wrong, and that's possible. It wouldn't surprise me, but I feel like I want to try it out maybe a couple days, maybe sometime later this week, and just to see like the difference between using running shoes on calf raises versus just my flat shoes, like my Converses. But anyways, back to calves. That was basically just did it for like 2 sets here, around 8 to 10 reps, and that was pretty much it. Nothing too crazy to it. Then to start off all my back days, what I've been doing recently is reared out flies on the machine chest fly, just because it helps me to keep it. I feel like I can get a really good pump with these once I really locked in, just squeezing my rear delts at the end of every rep, so that way I can actually like really connect to my muscle. And by the time I get to like rep 9, I really start to feel it contracting and it really starts to burn. And I feel like when I'm feeling that burning feeling, that's telling me that I'm hitting the muscle correctly. And if I'm progressing on top of that and making sure I'm eating, making sure I'm recovering, then I feel like I'm giving my body every single reason to get bigger. And that's the goal. So yeah, I did rear delt flies here for 2 sets and went from 150s last week to 155s this week. So 2 sets of 10 to 12 is what I've really been rocking with. I was initially doing 10 to 20 for about a couple weeks, like maybe sometime last month, but I was getting so tired in my mind of just trying to count anything past like 10 reps. And so I figured that I started to feel the muscle contract around 8 reps. And so I figured that maybe 12 reps is a good range for it, just because, especially with my lateral raises and everything, anything under 8 reps, I don't really feel it that much. Maybe it's most of my form, and that's very possible, but I feel like that's just what works for me. But back to the rear delt flies, basically just did 2 sets here, and that was pretty much it. And then we moved right on over to some pull-ups. For pull-ups today, last week we did around 25 pounds for about 10 and a half reps. So since we hit that top of the rep range, decided to move up the weight. I did 5 pounds and did 30s today. Almost did it for 10, but just was like just shy for the last one. So I think I'll give it maybe one more week, and then once I can hit it for a comfortable 10, like actual consistent 10 reps, not just doing a ton of momentum, that type of thing, and really squeezing the muscle, then I'll move up to like maybe 35 pounds or maybe even add like a 2.5 plate. It's always weird, especially with compounds, adding like 2.5 pounds, it seems like nothing, but it's such a huge difference. Like as long as you're adding enough stimulus to the muscle or change or like confusing the muscle, like to tell it in terms of how much weight you're putting on, as long as you're like changing it every time, not necessarily saying that you're like just going down weight every session, but that you're adding weight so that they can give your body a reason to adapt to the new weight so that you can come back bigger, then I think you'll be just set that way. But yeah, for basically the way I did it with my compounds today was for pull-ups, did one set was 8 to 10, that was like a straight set. Then my second set was just basically like AMRAP to failure with just body weight. And so that I'm giving my body 2 reasons to get stronger in 2 different areas. So one with the weight and then one with just my body weight. So like that way I'm still like progressing in 2 different areas at the same time on 2 different sets. And you guys will see later, I did the same thing for my Yates rows as well. And worked out pretty good, but can't really complain too much about all that. And for, after my pull-ups and everything, went over and did some cable rows. As you guys have seen in like my other videos and like my reels and stuff, I've usually been doing like hip assisted cable rows, but I don't know. I just want to try out today to see how it feels to do just like sitting back on the pad again and just really just learning to like stretch with my lats more. And it kind of feels a little bit better. I feel like I'm just using a lot of like kind of like not necessarily momentum, but I feel like I'm like really having to like pull super far back in order to feel my lats all the way when I do the hip assisted one. Like I can do more weight, but at the same time I feel like I can't really, I mean I can stretch, but I don't know, for some reason I can't really describe the feeling. But sitting on the pad versus having my hip assisted to it, I know it should be helping it, but I don't know, it kind of feels better for me. So I feel like I'm just gonna pick the movements that really feel good on me, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's just how it is. And I feel like for my back, like my back has grown no matter what. Like I feel like as long as I'm just like stimulating it to some extent and getting stronger every session, then my back always grows. I wish my chest would grow the same, but you see, it's been very inconsistent. It's a low-key kind of feels like it stayed the same for like a while now. So I'll probably change some things and maybe try to prioritize stuff like machines over just compound stuff like bench press and incline bench press. But I think it's also just how I'm executing as well. Maybe I'm going too heavy, which is probably true, and also maybe my form. But it's just small things like that here and there. Then right after my cable rows here, went over and did some Yates rows for 2 sets. Like I said earlier, just like the pull-ups, I did 1 set here for 8 to 10 reps and did like with 2 plates. Then for my next set, just dropped the plate and went down and did around, let's call it like 10 to 20 reps ish of just 1 plate on there, just so I could find another way in which I can progress. So I'm progressing once with the 8 to 10 rep range and then progressing again with the 10 to 20 range. And I feel like doing it this way not only helps me to really track my progress, but also get a really good pump at the same time. So like my first set is my heaviest one, and then my back down is allowing me to like really get a nice pump and get some like really good blood flow in there, so that I can really feel that not only that I did my back really good, but also that I'm making sure that I can track my progress as I go on with the next couple weeks of my bulk. But let's see, right after Yates rows, kind of forgetting what I did. Oh yeah, then that was basically it for back. And so went over and did some biceps, and right after biceps, not right after. For biceps, one of the machines was being used, so a little unfortunate, but luckily there's one more that doesn't feel as good, but I feel like kind of the pad feels kind of nicer though than the machine preacher curl I usually use. But essentially it was just this machine. It feels weird with like the bar that you're like curling towards yourself, because it feels like it's not contracting your bicep all the way. Maybe I'm just going too heavy and that's possible, but I'm going for like 8 to 10 reps. So I feel like I should be able to complete each rep like properly without any type of excuse or without fail, right? But for some reason it like feels like it's like stopping like right before my bicep contracts. Like my bicep was still getting a good pump, but it felt like I was still missing a part of it. But maybe I'm just crazy. But yeah, just did here like 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps. I've really been enjoying this rep range a lot. And I've usually been sticking to like maybe like anywhere from like 4 to 8 reps, but I don't know. I feel like my elbows and a lot of my joints really were starting to hurt a lot when I was going like a little too heavy. And so maybe the way I'm doing it is just a little bit wrong. That's maybe why I was starting to hurt a lot when I was going heavier. But I've just really been enjoying the 8 to 12 rep range, just like Jay Cutler does all the time with his workouts. So maybe this works, and maybe it doesn't. But all I'm saying is that I'm still in the gym, still trying to give my best, and still trying to learn some things as I go. And I feel like that's most important. So yeah, that was basically it for the just preacher curls. Then after preacher curls, moved on over to some hammer curls and EZBar Skullcrusher. I know I did triceps yesterday, but I wanted to give my triceps just some extra volume. Just like I never do enough. I feel like I don't have enough time to do a lot of tricep volume on my push day, and so I decided to just do that do it again, just like one exercise on my pull day, just so like that way my body has some time to recover. I feel like every single time I do push day, my triceps never are really get exhausted to the point where I can't use them again the next day. So I decided that why not just try it at least for a little bit and see how they react to doing second day of it right back to back, and then just giving it some more recovery, because I'm not going to hit them again until like I guess technically Friday when I do like my pressing again with like chest, but realistically they're not really going to be hit again like really hard and like really good pump until Saturday. So I feel like adding that volume at the beginning and then having several days in between and making sure I'm recovering, eating all that stuff, then I feel like I'm giving my body every reason to grow and to get bigger in every area. But yeah, I decided to do seated hammer curls today just because I feel like I use a lot of momentum whenever I do the just high reps of my hammer curls. And so I wanted to be more honest with how much stronger I'm actually getting, and to be able to easily, not easily, but track my progress a little bit easier by just focusing on not just how much weight I can do, but making it harder. And so once I got up to like a decent enough weight with my hammer curls, I decided is like, you know what? Let me try to bring the weight down and then just try to stick with this and just see what happens. And wasn't too bad. I can't really complain too much. And right after the hammer curls here, did some EZBar Skullcrushers, and I think I got to still work on like balancing it on my triceps, my shoulders and everything, because sometimes it feels like my shoulders are taking over just a little bit, but not by much. But I feel like I just need to work on just like balancing it correctly and being consistent in every single week. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today for my workout. I'm sorry if I kind of talk a little fast. Just something I'm trying to really work on. But yeah, that was pretty much it for today's lift. Nothing too crazy today, and it feels kind of weird to do voiceovers again, but kind of forgot how fun it used to be. I kind of like this style, but you guys just let me know down below if you want me to continue to do voiceovers. And I know that I usually in the past just have like a Clash Royale clip like playing in the beginning, but I don't really play that game anymore just because it was frustrating me too much. But if that's what you guys want me to see, just just seeing me get absolutely like demolished in Clash because of how bad I am, then just let me know and I'll re-download it, even though it will take every bone in my body to want to try again with that game. But it is what it is, and it's all about having fun. That's all it is. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's lift today, and I hope you guys enjoyed. And like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Road to 200 followers. We've already made a lot of progress so far, and I'm really happy about it. So yeah, we're already 160 followers, 160 subscribers now. So let's go for 200 and keep it going. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.